It's Hall of Fame weekend at Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton. The Tiger Cats and Ottawa Rough Riders meeting for the first time ever in the Hall of Fame game, and this is the 7th such contest. The Tiger Cats haven't had a lot of luck in Hall of Fame games. They're 1-5 since they started playing the game back in 1982. Paulus Baldiston will kick the football off, and we will be underway at Iverwin. The 6-4 Ticats, the 1-9 Ottawa Rough Riders. Will Lewis drops the kickoff and then has to fall on it at the Ottawa 24. Neil Lumsden, if you're into omens, that's not a good one for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Well, I think omens is the one thing Jeff Wickersham can't be thinking about. He has one thing on his mind. He's got to get things going early for the Ottawa offense. Bob Weber said they're going to have to run the football with some success earlier on and work in their new passing conversations, which we'll elaborate on a little bit later.
Win or lose, it's a special day for Bob Weber. It's his 31st wedding anniversary. The Ottawa Rough Riders start from their 23, the second professional start for Jeff Wickersham at quarterback, and he's in trouble on the first play as Frank Robinson comes through. Wickersham was able to get the football on, but tremendous pressure from Robinson, and a glorious afternoon for the Hall of Fame game at Iverwin Stadium. 24 Celsius. And the wind not a great factor. The field is damp because they watered it before the game, but skies are basically clear.
Ottawa comes out with a different set. Jim Reed, 32, was up on the line. So was Hudson. Like an old tight end set. Didn't help then. Robinson came scot-free.
2nd and 10 Riders at their 23. Hudson in motion. Wickersham throws to the sidelines. Alphin open at the 40. He steps out at the 41-yard line. Gerald Alphin with a gain of 17 and an Ottawa first down.
To the wide side of the field, Alphin is the middle receiver of 3. Jim Reed's in front of him going to the flat, almost like flooding an area. Wickersham has to make some quick moves a little bit to his right here to get out of the rush. Now he does it. Throws a nice ball just over the outreach hands of Robinson, 33.
Good protection that time for Wickersham, too. Riders, 1st and 10 from their 41. Wickersham for the 3rd straight time drops the throw, finds Orbelee. Nice move to get away, and he's to center field. There's a flag down. Orbelee stepped away from middle linebacker Gerald Corbin, turned that into a 14-yard gain, but a penalty was called.
Holding Ottawa, 73 before yards gained.
Mike Hudson negates that game with a holding call.
In first possession, when the offense gets the ball, especially when you're struggling like Ottawa has, you don't need the little mistakes to shut down a drive.
It seems as though struggling teams always have those kinds of things go against them, and I guess that's why they're struggling teams.
Well, I think it's because certain players are pressing. They want to make sure they get the job done, maybe working a little bit too hard.
Draw play to Orbelee on first down and 20, and he breaks it. Orbelee, see how much speed he has. Les Brown has an angle on him and hauls him out at the 19-yard line of the Tiger Cats. What a year Orbelee has had amid all the losing in Ottawa.
Well, it's a credit to him to be able to remain focused and optimistic. This is his first year. He really is still in a learning situation, trying to understand what professional football is about. But you're going to see here, watch Jim Reed, the fullback, come across our face right there, turn and pin Corbin. Now Orbelee reads that, kicks it out, then back up the field, and then just turns it on. And, you know, we saw signs of his ability early in the season, but it just has progressed and progressed. He's starting to break some now.
What a talent this young man from Simon Fraser is. Robert Reed carries on first down from the 19, and he is stacked up very quickly by the Tiger Cats. Coming into this game, Orbelee had accounted for 1,461 yards in running, receiving, and kick returning. Wickersham starting at quarterback. Reed and Lee are his setbacks. We'll see some alternating there. The wide receivers and a new one, Reggie Ward, on the outside. And the offensive line with Fawcett playing for injured Irv Damon. Otherwise, the 4 men on the offensive line have been there. The other 4 have been there all season long. 2nd and 11. Ottawa from the Hamilton 20. Wickersham slips, gets up, gets away, but not from Lorenz. Tim Lorenz, the rookie, sacks him back at the 28.
Lorenz gets his 2nd sack of the season, taking David Sauve's spot in that end. Wickersham's going to try to improvise a bit and dance around, but you mentioned earlier the turf is wet. and there's no consistency. There are just spots. It's not wet in one spot and not in the other. And people and the players are going to have to, I don't even know if you can adjust for it. It's just something you have to get lucky, I guess.
Well, they watered it down before the game, as we said, and as you point out, Neil, it's very tricky because it's dry in some spots and wet in others. Tony Martino will try a 35-yard field goal. The former BC Lion trying to solve the Ottawa Rough Rider field kicking woes, and he did well that time, hitting from well out for 3 points, and the Ottawa Rough Riders grabbed the lead. Three former players and a builder were added to the honor roll this weekend in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame and Museum here in Hamilton. Royal Copeland, Ed McQuarters, Tony Pajikowski, the players, and Ralph Sazio went in as a builder, and we're going to hear more about and from them as we go along this afternoon. Tom Dixon kicking off after the Martino field goal. Wally Zatoni with it, and he doesn't find much area to get upfield and is stopped at the 37 of the Ticats.
Last week, the Eskimos did a good job of getting to Mike Kerrigan quickly. Hard coverage and not allowing Kerrigan to get into what I like to call his sink, getting into a rhythm. The 3- and 5-step drop, they took that away from him with a sore elbow, eventually left the game.
He was 11 of 23 for 121 yards against the Eskimos. Prior to that game, Kerrigan had been hot as a firecracker. 2 games against Ottawa and a win over the Argonauts. And his first pass of this afternoon's contest intended for Martin Sarton, but too far ahead of his running back. 3-0 Ottawa, 11:47 to go in the opening quarter. And later this afternoon on CFN, Dave Hodge and Tom Larscheid are standing by in Edmonton for the Eskimos and the Toronto Argonauts. Their first meeting since that memorable Grey Cup game at BC Place last November.
And both coaches faced with having to deal with injuries and other situations, and I think both have done a pretty good job. Bob Obilovich a bit with the back against the wall, but they're an awfully good football team.
Well, the Argos have really been hit by injuries and defections on their defensive team. Kerrigan throwing to Winfield. Say goodbye.
Bob, you know, they say, coaches will tell you the best way to take care of a blitz is to sting him quickly. 3 steps. Kerrigan throws it into Winfield, cutting inside. That was vacated by blitzing halfback Will Lewis. Nicely picked up, well adjusted to by Winfield. And it seems like every time this guy gets his hands on the ball, he gets closer, takes it a long way. Be it punt return, kickoff return, or catching the ball.
Well, that's his 5th touchdown of the year on pass receptions. It was a 73-yarder on a throw from Kerrigan. The convert added by Osbaldiston. And Hamilton has struck very quickly. Their second offensive play of the afternoon, a 73-yard Mike Kerrigan to Earl Winfield pass and run play. And it's 7-3 Ticats. Well, we saw Winfield have that sensational game, Neil, here 2 weeks ago, just over 2 weeks ago against the Toronto Argonauts. He scored a touchdown on a long pass against Edmonton last week, and he's off and running again today.
Well, we talked about the relationship that a quarterback has to have when we were referring to Wickersham earlier. And Mike Kerrigan knows exactly what his receivers are doing, and that's why that play was successful, because Winfield makes the quick break inside, the quick post, because Will Lewis vacates the area and comes on a blitz. You know, and sometimes that play, though they're happy, obviously, it went all the way and scored, is just really to get rid of the ball so the quarterback doesn't get sacked. Bob Weber knows that those are the types of plays you have to take away from a big team offense.
Well, the Tiger Cats are the highest scoring team in the CFL. They've averaged 29 points per game, and they have 7. And we're not 4 minutes into this contest at Ivor Wynne Stadium. Ottawa has given up more points than anybody. Orville Lee has the kickoff back at his 6-yard line. And he is stopped hard at the 27 by Pete Giftopoulos.
Pete Giftopoulos getting his chance to start here. His home field, went to school at Cathedral High School right here in Hamilton. knows the discipline lane, comes down, keeps the runner to his inside, and when he knows the time it is to converge, he comes down hard.
Well, he has a reputation as a hitter, Neil. Showed us why on that play. Wickersham and the Ottawa Rough Riders start from their 27, their second possession of the game. The first one produced a Tony Martino field goal. Wickersham has lots of time, and then he can't find anybody. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, and May has picked up a yard. Hamilton Tiger Cat defense, and that front is an outstanding one. Walker, Covington, and Skillman with all those sacks. We'll give you numbers later on. Corbin and the Robinsons at linebacker. Corbin, a rookie, in the middle. Frank Robinson, the leader of the linebacking core, and in the secondary, 5 pretty solid defensive backs. Ottawa, second down and 9 from their 28-yard line. Robert Reed carrying on second and 9 off the right side, gains about 4 yards. You would expect to see a pass on second and 9. Not a run-off tackle. And the Ottawa Rough Riders will send up Tom Dixon, who'll do the punting and the kicking off, while Tony Martino handles the field goal chore.
Maybe dropping one of the duties for Dixon will allow him to relax a bit more. He's got a very strong leg, and I think maybe taking his mind off the field goal side of the game and just worrying about punting and kicking the ball deep on kickoffs will help.
Well, he's punted well this year, Neil, as you saw by that average, 42-3. Only 17 out of 33 field goals, though, and that has hurt the Riders. Dixon does not get a good punt away. Winfield has it go by him, and then he's thrown down back at the 40-yard line. 9:50 left in the opening. Foster's Lager in the Canadian Football Network, bringing you the best of the CFL. Hall of Fame Sunday at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton. Gorgeous day, 24 degrees Celsius. And the game just over 5 minutes old. 10 points up already. Hamilton leading 7-3. And with the ball, first and 10 at their 42. Martin Sarton carrying, and he finds good room across the 50 to the 51. That'll be a run of 9 yards. Number 41, Kenny Braden, leading the Ottawa tacklers.
Well, this type of success on a first down is what the quarterback's looking for. Sarton's going to hit straight up there, then cut back over the middle. Nice job of blocking by Dale Sanderson, Jason Riley, and Ralph Schultz, taking that middle surge and then giving Sarton a place to go and pick a hole.
Second down, about 1.5 yards. Jet Tommy carries left side. He's to the 53, and we'll have the first down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Ottawa Rough Riders have a new linebacker, Neil. Ben Hummel making his CFL debut, and he's one of 3 or 4 players they have brought in the last couple of weeks that they're very high on.
Well, they have reason to be encouraged about the players. They all stack up very well in respect to what they are looking for, but it has to be unsettling for a coaching staff, always wondering every game, is this guy going to be good enough?
Hummel's number 20. You saw him in your screen there. Ticats first and 10 from the 53. DiPietro has the ball and fights his way to the, well, they'll mark him at the 43 of Ottawa. That's a first down, a gain of 13 yards for the Tiger Cats. Mike Kerrigan having an excellent year. Sarton and Tommy as running backs. Outstanding receiving core. Tony Champion is injured. He's not in there today. They have a newcomer, Richard Estelle, who will back up at wide receiver. And that offensive line has done a good job this year keeping people off the Hamilton quarterbacks. Kerrigan to Sarton on first down across the 40 into the 38. Darrell Patterson, tied for the club lead in Ottawa in tackles, makes the stop. Patterson had 45 coming into this game.
You mentioned the offensive line has done a good job keeping people off Kerrigan's back. They also are doing a good job right now coming off the football and giving Sarton at least 4 yards to get into the area where the linebackers are before anyone even touches him.
Hamilton has only allowed 21 sacks all year. That's the lowest total in the CFL. Second and 5. Hamilton, Ottawa 38. Kerrigan throws complete to Chapdelaine at the 31-yard line, working on Will Lewis. That's a gain of 7. Ticat first down.
It's good to see Chapdelaine has really responded to the opportunity of starting at slot back. He's come up with some big catches in big games. Really a very confident receiver. See Kerrigan not afraid to go to the football, throw to the flat, Nice job of adjusting his body to turn so he makes sure he catches it straight on, doesn't try to one-hand it over the shoulder.
He's not one of their high-profile game breakers, but had a very, very good year. Jacques Chapdelaine. Martin Sarton carrying on first down. Gets maybe 3 in the middle. Down to the 28 of the Ottawa Rough Riders is 55-year-old Bob Weber, a native of Fort Collins, Colorado, looks on.
Talking about his players, he says we've got a lot of character in this Ottawa football team. He says we've learned how to play hard. He said now we have to learn how to win.
And he feels that from a talent point of view, the Ottawa Rough Riders have upgraded themselves in the last 2 or 3 weeks with some of the players they've added. Now it's a matter of getting those players used to one another. Chapdelaine with a catch at the 19-yard line. Linebacker Zeke Gadsden on the coverage, but Chapdelaine did a nice bit of work on this one, Neil.
Well, you're going to see a great pass. Watch Kerrigan take a shot just as he throws the football down on the ground. Chapdelaine just very nonchalantly controls himself near the sideline, knows he has position on Gadsden, and makes a good catch.
Really didn't tip Gadsden off that the ball was coming. Gadsden with his back to the football and not able to react. 1st and 10, Ticats at the Ottawa 19. Kerrigan for Winfield, touchdown. 2nd of the game for Winfield.
One-on-one coverage. Here comes the blitz. Nicely picked up by the offensive line and backs. And Kerrigan just leads Winfield over the outside shoulder. And past Rod Brown.
Well, that's the 2nd of the afternoon for Winfield. And both of them came on passes from Mike Kerrigan. That one covered 19 yards as Paulus Balderston adds the convert, and the Tiger Cats have a 14-3 lead, 6:20 left, first quarter.
There could be a happier way to celebrate your 31st wedding anniversary, but it could get better for Bob Weber.
Well, the Hamilton Ticats have beat up on Ottawa twice already this year, 51-24 and 46-20. They're ahead 14-3 with 6:20 left in the opening quarter as Orville Lee looks for room on the kickoff return, doesn't find much. Napierkowski brings him down at the Ottawa 35-yard line.
Bob Weber said to us before the game, the key is to disrupt the tempo of Mike Kerrigan and the Hamilton offense. To do that, you're going to have to get in his face quickly and not allow him to throw the ball and celebrate.
Kerrigan is now throwing a league-leading 15 touchdown passes, and he had the top passer efficiency rating in the league coming into this game. So Mike Kerrigan and the Hamilton offense off and running. Wickersham throws on first down, but both receivers were headed upfield, and he threw it into an intermediate area.
Remy Watson to the outside. Number 81 had taken the release around Lance Shields to head upfield. Wickersham believing that the ball and the player should have been in the right spot in the same spot.
Wickersham is 24 years old. He's from Louisiana State. This is his 2nd year. He was injured for nearly all of last season. The ball at the Ottawa 35, 2nd and 10. Wickersham sprints left, has time, throws, intercepted by Flegel. Scott Flegel will look to pick up some blocks, gets away from an Ottawa player, and finally is down at the Ottawa 43-yard line.
The Riders simply sprinting to their left, cutting down the field of which Wickersham is going to have to work with, so there's less area to throw the football. Drop and roll. Key block coming up here late just so Wickersham can throw the ball. He overthrows Hudson. Look at how many people, defenders, are there for the Tiger Cats. You're going to have to spread them out to get your receivers open. Just too cluttered.
Well, Wickersham had to be letter perfect on that throw or he was in trouble, and trouble is what he found. Kerrigan looking deep on first down, and he can't get it to Estelle, the newcomer. Richard Estelle from the University of Kansas, giving Earl Winfield a breather.
Had an opportunity after Flago got the football to see a little bit of the old style Scott Flago running with the football, keeping his balance. The exciting side that we haven't seen enough of this year.
That was Flago's third interception of the year, as his play has picked up with each game since coming to Hamilton in the trade for Kenny Ford with Calgary. And what a game Ford had in the Stampeders win over Winnipeg last night. Martin Sarton carrying on second down and 10, and he's going to be close to a Hamilton first down. I think he has it at the Ottawa 31.
Once again, we see a bit of a slip. Sarton gets Miles Garrell pulled out in front of him. See number 66 move up through the hole. Now he's falling, and you can almost hide behind Garrell. But that slip right there didn't allow Sarton to come back behind Garrell and take it even further down the field.
Ticats with 2 touchdowns already. 4:15 left in the opening quarter. Now on the Ottawa 31 and looking for a third. Kerrigan, lots of time, dumps it off to Sarton. He's to the 24-yard line of Ottawa for a gain of 7. Darrell Patterson was there to meet him. Well, the Ottawa Rough Riders, Neil, I'm sorry, have had nothing but trouble on defense all season long. They've given up 34 points a game, and they've allowed well over 400 yards, 417 yards in offense per game on average.
All you can say is yikes.
Sometimes numbers tell a story. Sometimes they're deceiving. I think in this case they're rather accurate. Jed Tommy, first down pass from Kerrigan, a second down, pardon me, gives them a first down at the 14-yard line of the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Something that has impressed me about this Hamilton offense as Chapdelaine makes his way back to the huddle is Kerrigan's ability to pick out different receivers. See as he rolls back and he's looking to his right, then immediately turns the shoulders, gets himself in a good throwing position, and delivers the ball.
Chapdelaine, not Tommy, of course, catching that pass. Ticats at the Ottawa 14. Martin Sarton carrying, and he'll have maybe 4 down near the 10 of the Ottawa Rough Riders. Darrell Patterson, Michael Klein, and Leon Hatzianu, number 43, the nose tackle, in on the stop.
It was thought that we might see a combination of defenses today with the Ottawa Rough Riders. You see Klein come off the block and come right down the line of scrimmage to cut off the hole. Might see them run a little bit of 4-3 with 4 down linemen and then go into the 3-4, which Winnipeg, for example, uses all the time.
Second down, and we'll call it 7 from the Ottawa 11. Sarton on a draw, and he runs right into Hatzianu, the nose tackle who was picked up this week off Winnipeg's practice roster after an injury to Michel Bourgeot. Earlier, Robert Weir was injured.
Hatzianu in a stunt right there. You see him come off the head of Dale Sanderson, come around inside of Michael Klein, who really ends up taking 2 offensive linemen. Hatzianu runs right into the play.
Hatzianu started the season with Ottawa, was taken by Winnipeg off the practice roster, was reclaimed by Ottawa, was reclaimed by Winnipeg, and now is back in Ottawa.
I want the movie rights.
We're not sure how long he'll be here this time. 22-yard field goal try by Osbaldiston, and it's good. And the Ticats increase their lead to 17-3 with 2 minutes and 27 seconds remaining in the first quarter. At halftime on this Hall of Fame Sunday, a look at this year's 4 inductees. Former Toronto Argonauts star Royal Copeland, ex-Saskatchewan great Ed McQuarters, former Calgary and Montreal star Tony Pajkowski, and going in as a builder from Hamilton and Toronto, Ralph Sazio. So 2:23 left in the first quarter at Ivor Wynne. And the Ottawa Rough Riders will start from their 35 after the field goal by Osbaldiston. Wickersham had some time, but then Mark Napier-Kowski greeted him back at the 28-yard line, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who roll up the sacks, have another one.
In the last 3 situations, Wickersham and the offense of Ottawa have come to one side, looked, and thrown the ball. This time he looks and goes to throw back. He's got Reggie Ward one-on-one on the backside with Lance Shields. Lance Shields just did an outstanding job in coverage. That coverage allowed these guys to get in.
So second down and a long 17 for the Ottawa Rough Riders from their 28. Wickersham throws long for Gerald Alpin, and he can't make the catch down at the 35-yard line. Well thrown football, but good coverage by the Ticats Howard Fields.
I don't think there's any question that Wickersham can throw the football. Graduate of Louisiana State, broke all of Y.A. Tittle's passing records there. But there's more to throwing and having success in the football, as Jacques Chapdelaine has that left foot off, or the left foot still on, the left shoe off. But that was a scary thought, wasn't it?
We got a scoop if he's got his left foot off. Third down, Ottawa, 17 yards to go from their 28-yard line. Tom Dixon to punt. And Dixon doesn't hit it very well. It'll bounce at center field. Zatilny at the 51. A flag flies, no yards. Likely to call against the Ottawa Rough Riders, who will find Hamilton in scoring position once again, if indeed that's what the penalty is. And Bob Weber has a look of disgust, I would suggest.
No yards, Ottawa 26.
It makes it pretty tough in the cover team when you go down and you expect and you practice throughout the week to run about 40 yards and then break down and cover when the ball doesn't go that far.
Troy Wilson called for no yards. Later today on CFN, the Toronto Argonauts are at Commonwealth Stadium to play the Edmonton Eskimos. Dave Hodge and Tom Larscheid are there. First game since they played that fantastic Grey Cup game last November at BC Place. Edmonton winning 38-36. Jed Tommy carries on first down for Hamilton here at Ivor Wynne Stadium on Hall of Fame Sunday. And Tommy has a gain of just over 3 yards down near the Ottawa 40.
The Ottawa offense is going to have to help out their defense by staying on the field and giving them a chance to get a rest, reevaluate the situation, make some adjustments, because right now they're on the field too much and there's an awful lot of pressure on them.
Hatziano, Klein, and Lewis up front. Hummel, Braden, Patterson, and Zeke Gadsden are the linebackers as Kerrigan drops and now rolls around the rush, gets it downfield and over the head of Steve Stapler, who was well covered on the play by Rod Brown.
Forced out of the pocket. Stapler down, presses hard, then comes back to the football. Here's where the improvising takes place. Rod Brown, nice job at just staying right with Stapler, right in that back hip pocket. That's tough to do when a quarterback scrambles. The receiver starts to move around, shake a bit, and then go downfield. He did a great job of staying with him.
Paulus Baldiston is on. He'll try a 48-yard field goal. Tom Porras holding. Barring a penalty, this will be the final play of the opening quarter, as Baldiston has the distance, and it's through there. Paulus Baldiston really drove that football, and the first quarter ends with Hamilton leading by 17, 20-3 over the Ottawa Rough Riders. This is game one of a CFN doubleheader on Hall of Fame Sunday. We're at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton. Bob Irving and Neil Lumsden, and later today we'll go to Dave Hodge and Tom Larscheid in Edmonton for the Eskimos and the Toronto Argonauts. Hal Sartori, one of the offensive coaches with Ottawa, talking to his quarterbacks as Mike Kerrigan fumbles the ball. It's still loose. Flag goes down. And who has it at the Hamilton 35? The Ottawa Rough Riders do. But there was a penalty on the play as well. And it is Ottawa football.
Illegal interference on a loose ball. Ottawa, Hamilton 27, decline, first down.
Well, they called Sarton for interfering with Ottawa's attempts to recover. Ottawa recovered anyway, I believe, and get a chance once again to do something about that 17-point deficit.
Well, the rush coming in from the outside, the ball comes loose, and you watch Braden. I know he was hoping, take one more hop, and I can take it on the run and keep going.
Martin Sarton, instead of going for the ball, went for Braden. Ottawa, 1st and 10 at the Hamilton 35. Orville Lee carrying. And he breaks a couple of tackles. He gets down to the 30. And now if you're Ottawa, as Pal Sartori sends in Larry Moore with the play, you perhaps wish you had kicked field goals instead of gambling twice on 3rd and 10.
Well, they've had the chances. There's no doubt about that. And, of course, it's easy to look back, as you say, from up here.
hindsight is so vivid and clear. Orvalle on 2nd and 5. Nice move inside the 25 down to the 22-yard line. 8-yard gain. And what a move Mr. Lee made.
And a job well done.
Big Skin Pete is earning his money as always. Not that he gets any. 1st and 10. Riders at the Hamilton 22. Wickersham will take off and will have some room. He might get to the end zone. He does. Wickersham. I think the Hamilton defensive player thought he was going to go down. He just barreled into him and carried into the end zone.
Well, watching him drop back, watch when he gets the ball in the right hand. He's set to throw. He starts tapping it. Nope, nothing's open there. Nothing's open there. And he sees that middle open wide up. Look at Frank Robinson on the left side of the screen, 43. He just goes to Orvalle and takes him out of the play as a receiver, not knowing Wickersham is running up the field behind him.
Jeff Wickersham, a 22-yard touchdown run. And the convert by Tony Martino would make it a 20-10 football game in Hamilton's favor. Martino is good. And so the Ottawa Rough Riders are back in it, 10 points down with 1:47 left until halftime.
You know, this opportunity that we're seeing Wickersham take advantage of right here might prove to be something that he does a little bit more of now. Instead of standing in longer, look at him, just drop that shoulder in the head. He's in there. He might start to run the football a bit. That will take pressure off him himself. The receivers aren't open. Might as well run it.
Well, the Ottawa Rough Riders have had a tough go on offense this afternoon, but they seem in the second quarter to have found their stride a little bit more. And Wickersham, as you say, Neil, taking off with the ball, being forced up in that pocket and finding some wide open spaces. A 22-yard touchdown run, and it's 20-10 for Hamilton. Ticats led 20-3 after the first quarter.
Probably a pretty good way for Wickersham to get rid of some of that frustration, having to stand in there and not seeing anything come open.
Tom Dixon kicks off. Earl Winfield, who has 2 touchdowns, has it at the 20. And he's down at the 37. Winfield going in second gear, looking for some room and then shifting it into high, but good coverage by the Ottawa kickoff team. And while Wickersham has found some life in the second quarter, Mike Kerrigan, after a tremendous opening quarter, has slowed down a little bit, although, as you see, his numbers are still very, very impressive. From the Hamilton 37, handoff to Sarton, left side. And he's closed off at the 40 after a gain of 3.
Linebacker Darrell Patterson, number 76 for the Riders, has had a very busy season, being really the only veteran and the one that hasn't been shuffled around in that front 7 of the defense for the Riders.
Football in the Hamilton 40. 1:20 left in the first half. Kerrigan throws. Winfield is open and has it at the 52-yard line. That's a first down for the Ticats.
Bob Weber said before the game that he felt his cornerbacks, Rod Brown and Troy Wilson, were going to have to come up and really get in the face of the receiver. Here we see Winfield do a nice job at getting separation from the cornerback, then coming back to the football.
Winfield, 3 catches now. The first 2 went for touchdowns. His 8th and 9th touchdowns of the year. And Kerrigan puts it up long for Chapdelaine. Will Lewis intercepts at the Ottawa 20. And Chapdelaine brings him down back at the 17-yard line. Again, the Ottawa defense, which was really pushed around in the first quarter, comes up big.
Lewis taking advantage of, to begin with, good coverage, but this ball's going to come off of Kerrigan's hand just a little bit. He's not going to get everything on it. Because it wobbles a bit too much, it stays in the air. Chapdelaine tries to get positioned like a defensive back to break the play up, but Willis just made a great play coming down with the football.
Second interception of the second quarter for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Tyrone Pope had the first. Number 21, Will Lewis, has the second. And with 1:07 left until halftime, the Riders get the ball at their 18-yard line. A handoff to Orville Lee. He has a yard. And that's all. Daryl Corbin in on the stop.
Ran out with Jock just then.
As the season progressed with Al Bruno, he felt that one of the few things his football team wasn't receiving was the right amount of respect being placed in the top 2, 3, or 4 teams in the CFL. And I think he has found that respect by most people across Canada, the way the Ticats have played in their last few games.
Before they lost in Edmonton last weekend, they won 3 games in a row, beating Ottawa twice and then beating Toronto and beating the Argos soundly. Wickersham throws wide open. Up at the 34-yard line is Mike Hudson. And Ottawa has a first down with 43 seconds left until halftime. 20-10, Hamilton leading. Now, if you're Bruno and your team is 6-4 and you're playing a team that's 1-9, your primary concern has to be whether the guys are ready.
And if they are ready, get on the field, get the score up quickly, so it makes it very difficult for a team that's floundering to get back in the game.
Wickersham throws to Alphin, and he makes a catch and pays for it at the 53 of Hamilton. Lance Shields had one of those free shots that defensive backs love to get at Gerald Alphin.
It's coming right at you here. Boom. I mean, we can hear that up here. He almost cringed for Alphin's sake.
A defensive back's dream, that and getting an interception, but it's a big gain for Ottawa on a first down to the Hamilton 53-yard line. Wickersham gets away again, but not a third time. And with 17 seconds left until halftime, the Ottawa Rough Riders have called a timeout to stop the clock. Give them a chance to convert this second down and maybe get into field goal range.
Goes to show you can't do it on your own. Wickersham forced out initially by Covington. Robinson comes in and just goes over top, and then Covington, presence of mind to get back off the ground and get back at him. And Grover Covington is the CFL all-time leading sacker with 120. Took over from James Quick Parker, 121. I'm sorry, I've got to remember that last one there.
Yeah, that was number 121 for Grover Covington. What a great career he's had. A 4-time Eastern All-Star, 2-time All-Canadian. Consistent year in and year out. 17 seconds left until halftime. 20-10, Hamilton leading. Game 1 of our CFN doubleheader. Edmonton and Toronto follow this game from Commonwealth Stadium. Second down and many yards to go for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Wickersham. And he puts it up long for Gerald Alphin, who's in behind the coverage. And he's cut down at the 7-yard line with 8 seconds left until halftime.
What a great throw by Wickersham. I think we're seeing that he's the ability that he does have to throw the football. 2 plays ago, he zipped one in, and look at this one. Boy, he just steps up in that pocket away from the rush, throws it right on the button to Alphin, right over that left shoulder. Alphin able to split the coverage between Scott Flagel and Howard Fields.
And Shields just barely got enough of Alphin to bring him down, or he's in the end zone. Now, the Shields injury benefits the Ottawa Rough Riders, Neil, because they have time now with 8 seconds left to get downfield and decide what they're going to do on one try to get it in the end zone. At least one try.
Look at this. He steps up away from into the opening, away from where the pressure's coming from. Look at that. That ball, Alphin doesn't even have to break stride on it.
That was a great throw by Wickersham. If you're the Tiger Cats, you have to say we should never let him get behind our coverage in a situation like that with just seconds left in the quarter.
No, you're right. I think he'd be throwing his hands up when he saw the ball delivered, wondering how can anyone get behind what could not be considered a total prevent, but a semi-prevent defense.
Well, Shields looks like he's all right. It is a very hot, humid day, or 24 Celsius. That's hot for this time of year. Ottawa with 8 seconds left. The clock is running. This is going to be the last play of the half. Wickersham throws in the end zone, and it's knocked away by Rockford. So the Ottawa Rough Riders will not get a chance to kick a field goal in the halftime score. With Hamilton 20 and Ottawa 10. 12:09 left in the third quarter at Ivor Stadium in Hamilton. The Ticats with a 10-point lead over Ottawa, and with the ball at the Ottawa 31-yard line after a poor kick by Tom Dixon. So the Ticats, who didn't get much done offensively in the second quarter, have a great opportunity in this third to increase their 10-point lead. Mike Kerrigan will throw on first down, and he'll complete it for a very short gain. Well, this is Hall of Fame weekend, of course, in Hamilton. 4 former CFL greats inducted into the Football Hall of Fame, and we have 2 of them with us. Ed McQuarters, former Saskatchewan Rough Rider great, and Ralph Sazio, who has been in the CFL for 37 years. Ralph, am I right?
Yeah, close to it, yes, sir.
38?
Yes, that's right.
The first 31 with the Hamilton Ticats. Ralph, your thoughts on being inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Well, it's something you really don't plan or anything like that. You just go along and do the best you can, and then when the time comes and you're honored by your peers, it's very, very thrilling.
And Ed McQuarters, how have you felt about this weekend?
I feel the same as Ralph, and as far as the weekend goes, it's been really good. We've had a good time. We've been really treated well, and it's just a great honor to be inducted into the CFL Hall of Fame. And as I've said many times, I wish it was an experience that everybody could experience, but unfortunately it's only reserved for a few, and I'm just fortunate to be one of those few.
Ed, you look back over your career. Can you pick out a couple of highlights for us?
I can. As a matter of fact, I can pick out one highlight in the 68 Grey Cup, I believe it was. We were playing Hamilton, as a matter of fact, and they were just beating up on us something terrible. And I do remember we had a stunt call, and they were driving in close to our goal line. So we thought, well, we're going to stop them this time. But we didn't. I got the offensive guard, and I forget who that was, ran out on top of me, and the ball carrier came right behind him and scored right over me. That was one of the highlights I do remember.
Well, Ralph, you spent so many years here in Hamilton and were involved in so many Grey Cup games. And, of course, you won a Grey Cup in Toronto as well. Is there anything in your long and illustrious career that stands out?
Well, I think they're all highlights, but in '63, when I took over the head coaching job, Hamilton had been in the Grey Cup 4 times, and they hadn't won it. So it wasn't just good enough to get in, and we had to win, in which we did. And, of course, I knew in 1967 that was going to be my last year, and it was going to be the centennial year, and we played up in Ottawa. And to have won that as a going-out situation was very, very pleasing.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ralph Sazio and Ed McQuarters, along with Tony Padzikowski and Royal Copeland, inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame this weekend in Hamilton. Paulus Baldiston kicking a field goal, as you, I'm sure, noticed while we were chatting with those 2 individuals. Hamilton now ahead of Ottawa 23-10. And the Riders with the football back after the Baldiston kickoff. Jeff Wickersham, percentage-wise, not having a great day, but the yards are respectable, and he has lots of time left to add to them. 10:50 left, third quarter, 23-10. Ticats. Ottawa starts from their 39-yard line. And Wickersham completes the ball out to the 43 to Orville Lee.
Bob, you asked me earlier about, do you leave a quarterback of Wickersham's style, and if he's having problems in the game, or do you go ahead and replace him and put Mike Greenfield in? My response to that would be that I think you've got it. The only way you get better is stay in the game and play. And I think we've seen, as this game has progressed, Wickersham throwing the ball with more crispness and more confidence into areas that were early in the game he had a tough time doing.
Number 8 we just saw was Mike Greenfield, who's only been in camp for a few days. Here's the backup Ottawa quarterback as Gerald Alphin catches a second down pass at the Ottawa 48, a yard and a half short of a first down. Will they gamble on third down? They gambled on third and long twice in the second quarter and lost the ball both times deep in Hamilton territory.
Alphin's kind of a lazy pattern. He's going to come across. He gets Mike Robinson looking back, but if Scott Flagel doesn't come up and make the quick hit and throw Alphin down, it's definitely a first down.
And the Ottawa Rough Riders will go for it from their 48. They need 1.5 yards. Hamilton's defense digs in. And Orville Lee, not surprisingly, gets the ball, spins off the first hit. Now it depends where they give him. And it looks like they're going to mark it near center field, which will be very close to an Ottawa first down. If I had to guess, I would guess that he has it. We'll find out when we come back. 9:20 left in the third quarter. Bob Weber, the brother-in-law of the man he replaced as Ottawa head coach after 3 games this season, Fred Glick. Weber with Pal Sartori is back to us, looking on after Ottawa just barely made this third down gamble.
And that spin by Orville Lee is what got them the first down.
That in a generous spot of the football, nosing the Ottawa 50-yard line. 1st and 10 Riders. Wickersham. Whoa, look at the pressure. Wickersham still on his feet. And finally, Tim Lorenz gets him back at the line of scrimmage. I don't know how Wickersham got away from the initial Hamilton charge.
Well, we'll get a good opportunity to see how he can stay on his feet even when the pressure around him don't go down. Now he's going to run to the outside. Almost seems like he drops his shoulder here on Lorenz. Waits for him, tries to give him a pop.
Well, Wickersham is big. Actually, Remy Watson looked like he was open, Neil, but Wickersham tucked the ball under. Watson encouraging his quarterback to throw it. On 2nd and 10, Wickersham will hope to get this one off, and does. And it's no good at the 45. Shields with good coverage on Reggie Ward, who has yet to catch a pass in his Ottawa debut.
You see Wickersham as he walks off that right elbow bloodied. Ward goes down that little slip. Now he makes the adjustment. I think Wickersham expected Ward to make that move and then slide to the outside in front of the defensive back. Goes down. He's not able to make the adjustment.
Well, we visited with Ed McQuarters and Ralph Sazio. We should tell you that the other 2 men inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend, Royal Copeland and Tony Padzikowski, were also going to be with us, but they both have knee problems and are suffering. As the kick is blocked by Scott Flagel. If he picks it up cleanly, he's in the end zone. He doesn't. And it's still loose. And Larry Moore falls on it back at the 17, but it's Hamilton football, as Flagel never had control to lose it back to the Ottawa Rough Riders. Anyway, as I was saying, those 2 guys won't be here because their knees are bad. Neil.
Now, sometimes when you're up front of the punter and you make the block and the guy takes it very easy, you assume that he will do just that. Scott Flagel is notorious for coming in soft and then accelerating. Because of his athletic ability, he can do that. His quickness gets him in the face of Dixon, and now it's just who's got the ball. Larry Moore falls on it, but it's Ticat football.
At the Ottawa 17-yard line, and Ticats could really take command if they can score here. Kerrigan throws, no good. Intended for Richard Estelle. He's the designated import today. Tony Champion injured.
Scott Flagel comes from the outside. He's going to come from the left this time. Watch him come in. Up the middle. Just straight up the middle. Got to be able to seal that off so the punter can step up and kick.
Well, Larry Moore appeared to be a little slow in stepping over there. He may have had a responsibility on the other side that he was waiting on. From the 17, Kerrigan back to pass, throws low. Stapler did not catch it, they say, at the 16. So the Tiger Cats don't capitalize the way they would have liked on the blocked punt with a touchdown, and they'll send out Paulus Baldiston to try a field goal.
A little bit of good fortune and some tough play by the Ottawa defense keeps Hamilton out of the end zone. Those breaks, the things that normally wouldn't go Ottawa's way, might start to change.
As Baldiston, as you saw, 3 for 3 on the day. His kicks from 37, 52, and 22 yards. This will be a 24-yard try. And it's wide to the right. As Baldiston pushed it, he turned around and walked away as soon as he kicked it. He knew that he missed it. 7:05 left third quarter. It's now 24-10 Hamilton. The CFM game is brought to you by Foster's Lager. Ticats lead Ottawa 24-10. 7 minutes left, third quarter. Ottawa starts from its 35. Wickersham throws for Orville Lee. And he can't catch it. Howard Fields with a good pop on Orville Lee.
Fields coming up from his halfback spot. The different coverages that the Hamilton defense shows you, they play a lot of zone combinations. This particular situation gets Field coming from his halfback up and cover the flats.
He's the dean of that secondary, 30-year-old Howard Fields, in his 8th year from Baylor. 4-time Eastern All-Star. 2nd and 10. Ottawa from the Ottawa 35. Wickersham throws for Alphen, intercepted by Shields. Lance Shields had one earlier. A penalty took it away. There are no flags on this one as he's down at the Ottawa 45-yard line.
Let's go back a few plays. Remember that big hit that Shields put on Alphen. This is exactly the same play, only this time the other receiver, Remy Watson, doesn't take Shields deep enough so Shields can hang in the area because there was no threat of anyone going deep.
Well, let's see what the Hamilton Ticats, Neil, can do with this opportunity to really put Ottawa in a deep, deep hole.
See the two receivers close together. Watson's got to get deeper to force Shields to go with him.
Martin Sarton carries on first down and runs right into the arms of Lloyd Lewis. He'll have 2, maybe 3 on the run. 6:04 left, third quarter. Lance Shields upping his interception total on the season to 7.
Coming into this game, the Tiger Cats had the most interceptions of the year, 29. Now sometimes they're referred to as picks other than interceptions, but they can all get it.
2nd down and 8. Tiger Cats at their 40, the Ottawa 43. Kerrigan, lots of room, closes off quickly as he gets to the 38-yard line. 3 away from where he needed to go for a first down. Looked like he had a pretty good opening there, but Kerrigan doesn't exactly get downfield like a rocket.
Well, because of the blitz up the middle by Darrell Patterson, nicely picked up by the offensive line. A gap opened up, and Kerrigan, not seeing anything materialize downfield, decided to go on his own.
Looks like,
I'm sorry, he'd rather throw it than run it, though.
Looks like the wind has picked up a little bit, and Osbaldiston will be kicking into the wind. A 46-yard field goal try. He has the distance, but he's wide to the right, and Will Lewis will concede a single, and it's now 25-10 for Hamilton. Once again, they miss an opportunity to really take advantage of an Ottawa mistake. Well, we'd like to take a moment to say hello and pass along best wishes to Skip Haybarger, who is a sideline cameraman for the Canadian Football Network. He works the handheld camera on the sidelines. Broke his leg and his ankle on Friday. That's the camera that Skip would normally be working. Just came through surgery, and he's watching today from St. Joseph's Hospital here in Hamilton. Get well, Skip. Like to see you back patrolling those sidelines soon. Ottawa, 1st and 10 from its 38.5. The last point of scrimmage on that field goal try. The pass complete to Alphen. No, they say he didn't catch it. They say Alphen did not have control of the ball long enough, and he got hit hard and has been hit hard a number of times today.
Bob Weber voicing his opinion on that particular call. Alphen once again over the middle, comes up with a bit of a gimp. Weber's, I believe, thinks it was a catch and that the ground can't make you fumble, so it should be marked. Watching into your screen from the left side, there's the catch. He's down. As I said, the ground can't make you fumble.
Hard to tell if he actually had full control of the ball. It appeared as though maybe he did. Alphen stays in the game. No, he's leaving now. Thought he was running out to his receiver position. He's been beaten around pretty good this afternoon. Wickersham in 2nd and 10. And he's going to go long down the right side, and it's caught, and they're rolling. He's inbounds at the 32-yard line. And the fans here don't like that call. Remy Watson catching the football. And I'd like to see that one again.
Well, with the fans so close to the sidelines here at Ivor Wynne Stadium, You know they're going to voice their opinions. They always do, and they always have. I think Watson just made a nice job getting the adjustment, going to the sidelines, and trying to drag that foot in, and we will see if he does just that.
Well, I don't think he did. As a matter of fact, he didn't. But Ottawa has the ball on the Hamilton 32. Alphin drops it at the 23. Gerald Alphin will not very often drop a football like that.
Gerald Alphin's average and catching the ball between the 20s is outstanding, but when you break down the percentages that he drops inside and in the end zone, they're a little bit higher. That's a concern of the coaching staff. I think it's just a matter of getting him to concentrate a little bit further.
2nd and 10 Ottawa from the Hamilton 32. Ticats lead 25 to 10. 3:50 left, third quarter. Flags down. The play whistle dead. There was early movement. Coming up after our game, Toronto and Edmonton from Commonwealth Stadium.
Offside, Hamilton 38 breaking the plane. 2nd down repeated.
That's Darryl Corbin, who was called offside for Hamilton. It'll be 1st and 5 for the Ottawa Rough Riders from the Hamilton 26.5. Well, Ottawa has dodged a couple of bullets here in this third quarter, Neil, with Hamilton having some great chances to score and having to settle for a field goal and a couple of singles. Now, if they can get it in here, they're right back in it once more.
Well, the key there is getting it in. Coming into this game, the last 2 games they've played on offense, they've only scored 2 touchdowns, and I think that obviously that's a concern. Something that will come into play right here. They've had their chances.
Well, the Riders have only scored 186 points in 10 games, which is the lowest total in the CFL. Howard Field shaken up. Jim Rockford comes in to replace him. And they don't lose much in that exchange. Rockford, good defensive back. 2nd down and 5. Ottawa. Wickersham dumps it off to Orville Lee. And his move on Grievous didn't work the way he hoped it would. Grievous brings him down at the 22-yard line. And Lee, I think, is a yard short of an Ottawa first down.
Orville Lee's responsibility to the left is step up, make the block, let the guy who's rushing, in this case Grover Covington, who he puts down on the ground, go. Now, if he can wait just a second for Fawcett, number 57, who's coming from his right there, you see him stumbling in front of the screen, he might have had more yardage on the play.
They'll measure for the first down. The Ottawa Rough Riders are just a bit short. In the second quarter, Ottawa was around the Hamilton 30 twice, and on 3rd and long gambled and didn't make it. They're 3rd and about half a yard, and they're going to go for it here.
Howard Fields on the sidelines with athletic therapist Ray Jones getting a little bit more solution in that for that contact lens.
3 minutes, 13 seconds left. We're in the third quarter at Ivor Wynne Stadium. Hamilton leading Ottawa 25 to 10. 3rd down, half a yard to go, Ottawa. Orville Lee right side, and he has the first down and then some to the 20 into the 19 of the Tiger Cats.
Got it.
So the Ottawa Rough Riders are doggedly hanging in there. They're down by 15 points. But again, as I said, if they can score here, we have a football game.
What a great view of taking a look at the surge when the ball snapped. You're going to hear and see a bunch of helmets colliding, and just the struggle for possession of that 1 yard, and that was won by the Riders.
1st and 10 at the Hamilton 19. The handoff to Orville Lee. And that middle closed down quickly and hard. Frank Robinson among 2 or 3 Ticat tacklers on rookie Orville Lee.
Well, that linebacking core of the Tiger Cats continues to improve. Orville Lee getting a break this time, replaced by Robert Reed. And no one knows probably any better than Orville Lee. You can see his average, pretty good day, broke that long one earlier on in the game, and how tough those Ticat linebackers can be.
2nd down and 8. Ottawa. Wickersham, lots of time. Touchdown, Alphin. And that makes it 25-16 for Hamilton.
Wickersham getting the opportunity to set up and throw the football. They're keeping number 32, the fullback, Jim Reed, in for extra help. You see him motion to the left there. I'm sorry, Moyer stays in. That extra man can make a difference. Wickersham steps up, just throws the ball right down the seam where Alfred finds. And you can see Arnold Grievous right there with throwing his hands in there. You know, somebody, obviously he believes, busted a coverage.
Gerald Alphen with a touchdown, and Dixon, or Martino, make it with the convert. And it's an 8-point football game. Hamilton 25 and the Ottawa Rough Riders 17. And with that score, we will pause 10 seconds for the stations from coast to coast to identify themselves. You're watching the Canadian Football Network. A minute 40 left in the third quarter. The way the Ottawa Rough Riders view things, Neil, I don't know if when you're 1-9, if you talk about the playoffs, you know, people just laugh, I guess. But, you know, Ottawa's thinking if they can win today, they get Winnipeg in Ottawa next weekend. If they can win that game, they're 4 points out of third place in the East.
Well, you have to have a reason, as Al Bruno knows, to go out and play. And winning sometimes isn't enough. If you've got a goal and you're shooting for it, it makes it that much easier to play hard.
Earl Winfield on the return, and he gets out to the 33-yard line of Hamilton.
Now Mike Kerrigan is hopefully going to give his defense of the Ticats a rest, keep them off the field. But what Ottawa defense will try to establish here is get a 2-and-out situation, stop them for 2 plays, and get the ball back.
Earl Winfield leaving the field and replaced by Estelle. Richard Estelle. It's a hot, humid day, and I'm sure those conditions are telling on the players. The pass complete to Stapler out at the 49-yard line. We haven't seen a lot of Steve Stapler this afternoon, but he comes up with a 16-yard catch.
See the hands go in the air. He's also saying, finally, just a straight down, square out, going to the sidelines. Rod Brown giving a lot of distance and respect to Stapler, and for good reason, because if you get too tight to him, he can turn you inside out and go deep.
Stapler comes wide left this time, and Estelle to the right. First and 10, Ticats at their 48. Martin Sarton moves to the 51 before Kenny Braden brings him down. Well, next on the Canadian Football Network, as you look live at Commonwealth Stadium, the Toronto Argonauts and the Edmonton Eskimos, both teams 7-3, both in first place, and playing for the first time since their memorable Grey Cup meeting in November. Dave Hodge and Tom Larscheid are at Commonwealth, and they are ready. And we'll be going there as soon as Hamilton and Ottawa are finished. 25 seconds left in the third quarter at Ivor Wynn. And the newcomer, the first game linebacker, Ben Hummel, gets through to sack Mike Kerrigan.
Bob Weber had a lot to say about Ben Hummel. Was at SMU for a while, and then when their program sank, their football program that is, he went to UCLA. Bob Weber coached him at SMU for 3 years. Likes the way he moves and his strength. He would like to see some more sacks like that one.
First sack of the game for Ottawa. Hamilton has had 4. Third down and 15 as Balderson. Poor kick into the wind, and it bounces back upfield. Ottawa better grab it quick because those Balderston's coming, and Orville Lee picks it up and gets to the Hamilton yard line, and that play concludes the third quarter. Ottawa, pretty good field position and only 8 points.
On the left, receiver Earl Winfield moving that right shoulder around. It's a little bit sore. He's also trying to cool off, as you can see. And Marv Alamang, number 66, the center of the Riders, has a badly pulled right hamstring. It's taped heavily, but he's in there.
Fourth quarter begins with Ottawa. First and 10 at the Hamilton 50 after a 10-yard punt by Osbaldiston. And the pass is completed to big Jim Reed, who gets down to the 42 of the Ticats for a gain of 8.
But Jimmy Reed has such great forward lean. When he gets going, if he can get that hand down, he might have still gone another 5 or 6 yards if no one had been around.
Gerald Corbin shaken up. Again, we remind you that at game time it was 24 Celsius. Seems to be all of that now, and humid, warm day, maybe some cramping setting in.
Al Bruno would have to wonder what's gone on. Things look awfully good for his football team when this game started. Combination of the offense slowing down a bit, and you have to give credit to that Ottawa group. 12 guys that started off a little bit shaky, but have come back and in crucial situations have tightened up and made some big plays.
Boy, have they ever. It was 20-3 for Hamilton after the first quarter, and it looked like another rout was in the making. Hamilton has routed Ottawa twice this season, but from the end of the first quarter to the beginning of this fourth quarter, the Ottawa Rough Riders have been a different football team, and you have to admire what they've shown, especially when you take their 1-9 record into consideration. Second and a couple. Wickersham throws over the middle and nearly knocked Mike Hudson over. Oh, did he rifle that one in there?
Well, he pulls up out of that stance after getting the ball, and you're right, just lets it fly, and I think Hudson was expecting a little more of a touch on the ball.
That's a young quarterback in his exuberance to hit an open receiver, forgetting that it's hard to hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Third down and 2. The Ottawa Rough Riders will go for it, and will likely give it to Orville Lee. And Orville Lee has the first down to the Hamilton 37-yard line. Good surge on that right side by Ottawa.
Anabakis and Lorenz on the tackle.
Well, even with the sore leg, Marv Allemang, Nick Benjamin, and Kerry Elarenko, that right side just blow off. A lot of help there from Jim Reed and Larry Moore, the two fullbacks that go in motion early and lead Orville Lee into that area.
Well, the momentum of the game has really shifted in Ottawa's favor. They're trailing 25-17. But since about the midway point of the third quarter, have had the tide turned their way. Wickersham looking long. No, they roll, no catch. They had to wait on that one as the official didn't make a signal. Rockford thinks he intercepted. Alpin's not arguing, but it will go down as an incomplete pass.
Once again, Alpin up in the seam between this time Rockford and Flagel. It closes in quickly. The ball's over the right shoulder where it's supposed to be. And right there, I think you saw when Rockford pulled the ball out of Alpin's hands, he had to pull it along the ground to get possession. Good protection by the front five of the Riders. Right here. That's that right arm of Rockford. Pull that ball away. I think as he did that, it pulled and slid along the ground.
Just a little bit underthrown. If he throws that further downfield, another 2 yards further downfield, Alpin has a touchdown. 13-19, the time remaining in the fourth quarter.
Jim Reed, the fullback, back up on his feet, getting off the field, and right there, look, see right there, you see the ball go down when he squeezes it and hits the artificial turf. I'd complain once too if I was Rocket. If you don't complain, you got to try to convince the referees.
Second down and 10 for the Ottawa Rough Riders at the Hamilton 37. And Wickersham to Alpin. He's wide open and has a touchdown.
Wickersham's pass complete to Gerald Alpin for the touchdown.
Gerald Alpin becoming very well acquainted with that goalpost. This time he's able to hold on, but look at the protection here. A little roll to your right. Wickersham, lots of time. Good job of stepping up and throwing the ball. That stumble by Flagel took him out of the play. Even when you get a touchdown, it can be tough sometimes.
Well, they've really worked Gerald Alpin in this game with great success. A 37-yard touchdown pass. He caught a touchdown pass in the third quarter, and the Ottawa Rough Riders will go for the two-point convert that would tie the game. It's now 25-17. 23 for Hamilton.
Reminding everyone that a defense, if Ottawa turns the ball over, they can take it the length of the field and score 2 points.
Wickersham throws deep in the end zone looking for Alphen, and he has it. And we have a tie game with 12:56 left in the fourth quarter. This is a Foster's Lager telecast on the Canadian Football Network. Hamilton coach Al Bruno on the right of the screen is somewhat miffed. Bob Weber is saying this is what your 31st wedding anniversary should be like.
2 receivers cross that little fake to the post, and taking it to the corner is what freezes Flagel just for a second.
Didn't Wickersham put that ball out there beautifully?
Oh, perfect throw.
25-25. It was 20-3 for Hamilton after the first quarter. Winfield down at the 37-yard line. Alex Troop leading the special team players. Gerald Alphen has had quite a game for the Ottawa Rough Riders, their leading receiver. 2 touchdowns to match Earl Winfield in that department. And now Mike Kerrigan and the Hamilton offense, who have managed only 5 points since the end of that first quarter, will try to reestablish themselves. Kerrigan to Sarton. Nice move. Sarton up to the 43. He welcomed Ben Hummel to the CFL. Throws him to stiff with that little move. He got a few extra yards for it.
We're seeing the Riders bring 4 down linemen all the time now for pressure. See Sarton just on your left there, release downfield, and zippity-doo right here. Hummel goes for the kick move, and even that wasn't enough.
2nd down and 4. The give to Martin Sarton. He'll get around that left corner, turn it up, and he's near center field. A gain of 12 yards and a Hamilton first down.
Sarton not wasting any time after he gets the ball. Good job by Mike Dirks and Jason Riley on the left side of that line, sealing off. Gave him the corner to get around quickly and upfield.
Injured Ottawa player as Martin Sarton enjoys a pretty good afternoon. Leon Hatziano, the nose guard of the Ottawa Rough Riders, is the injured player. 3rd-round draft pick out of Simon Fraser this year, Toronto native. Michel Bourgeot had surgery on torn ligaments in his finger after the Calgary game. Robert Weir went down with an ankle problem earlier in the year, so Ottawa's depth at the nose tackle position as far as Canadians are concerned is being tested, and they had to reach out to Winnipeg and bring Hatziano back from the Blue Bombers off their practice roster for this game.
Well, Bob Weber, I think, is satisfied with a lot of positions that he has on the field and the people in them. He said for the first time this year he believes he has the right people and the right athletes in his receiver spots, but he also said we will continue to build. We're not going to stop trying to get better. So I'm sure there's still certain areas that they want to improve on.
You know, I don't think you can say enough, Neil, about what Ottawa has done here today. Being down after that first quarter, now they're back on even terms with Hamilton. I mean, when you're 1-9 and you find yourself down by 17 points in the opening quarter, if that's not discouraging, I don't know what is. You have to have something going for you to fight back the way the Riders have.
A little pushing and shoving going on in the interior of the line. But, you know, Bob Weber believes, and 100%, and all the other coaches know that they're not short on character. I mean, he flat out admits that, but there's some other little things, the intangibles about learning how to win football games when it comes down to the dying moments. You know, those are things that they will learn. John Gregory knows well about that, the maturity and what it takes to get a team in one spot.
2nd down and 9 yards to go. Hamilton at the Ottawa 54. Tie game, 11-10 left, fourth quarter. Kerrigan throws, and that was tipped, I believe, at the line, and it goes incomplete.
Kind of a strange ricochet there took place after Kerrigan threw the football. But I don't necessarily look at that. Look at the pressure that Ottawa was able to put on Kerrigan, keep him in that pocket, and then collapse on him.
Now it's Baldiston, who made his first 3 field goals and has missed his last 2, will punt with the wind. And he gets a good one away. Will Lewis at the 17-yard line. And he's back to the 21-yard line of Ottawa. We have 10:50 left at Ivor Wynne Stadium on Hall of Fame Sunday. This is the 3rd game of Week 10 of the CFL season. Ottawa and Hamilton, a 25-all tie. The Hall of Fame game at Ivor Wynne Stadium. And the 4th and final game of the weekend is up next on CFN from Commonwealth Stadium. The Edmonton Eskimos and the Toronto Argonauts. Hamilton on first down. Jed Tommy with a pass from Kerrigan, and Tommy will get a first down and drive it upfield to the 36 of the Ticats for a gain of 17.
Just thinking it would be curious to see if Mike Kerrigan starts to go back with the little things like throwing to the backs, using Rocky DiPietro and Jacques Chapdelaine effectively as he did in the first half. No passes over the middle, the quick flats, start to establish his offense again and get some really momentum built up for them.
Both quarterbacks with good numbers. Martin Sarton carrying on first down, and again he kind of lost his footing as he crossed the 40, got to the 42-yard line, and we've seen that happen a number of times today, especially to Sarton.
Well, he hits up in there again quickly and is without hesitation, as it's designed, kicks back out and tries to get around that corner. This time the Ottawa defense did a better job of getting to that line of scrimmage and spreading him out, not letting him turn the corner and get upfield.
You wonder at all about his footwear. He seems to have stumbled more than a player should. Second down, Kerrigan will throw. Zatilny has it. Well, that's Lee Knight, not Zatilny. Number 25 is Lee Knight down at the Ottawa 43-yard line.
Knight coming out of the slot back spot. See just on your left there with the 5, made the move, and now he's downfield. Watch him go into that seam right there. Has good position on Will Lewis. Kerrigan throws it to that open area. The middle was wide open.
Perfect throw by Mike Kerrigan. And Lee Knight took a rough ride after he caught that ball. 7:35 left here in the 4th quarter at Ivor Wynne, and as soon as this one ends, we will go to Commonwealth Stadium, and we have a live shot there now. Joe Ferrighelli and Bob Obilovich, the Eskimos and the Argos, getting set to meet for the first time this season, the first time since last year's Grey Cup game. And then they'll turn around and go back to Toronto and play again next weekend. Pigskin Pete tries to get the fans going as Michael Klein is looked at. Lee Knight attended to at the Hamilton bench.
I think more than any other part of the body as a receiver, the one thing that takes the beating when playing on artificial turf is your elbows. When you go down with the football in, and usually they're the first things that hit.
Hamilton on the move. 1st and 10 at the Ottawa 43, and Kerrigan is brought down by Dan Sellers.
Sellers in from the outside wearing that number 24. He almost looks like a running back. Kerrigan gets some time, but Sellers gets off the block of Mike Dirks and then comes around and gets inside, not allowing Kerrigan to either slip to the one side or get upfield.
Sellers is the designated import for the Ottawa Rough Riders. And he gives them a big defensive play. It's 2nd down and 18. Hamilton back from their 51. Kenny Braden after Kerrigan, and he knocks the pass down. And there's a flag on the play, which quite likely will be holding against Hamilton.
On that last play, Bob, I assumed that Mike Dirks was in left tackle.
Holding Hamilton 62, decline, 3rd down.
But he was replaced by Lloyd Fairbanks, 62. Kerrigan going to his left. That's a tough throw, trying to get those shoulders. Swung around and get the ball downfield. Ken Braden was in his face all the way.
Ball is Balderson on 3rd down, and 18 will kick. And he gets a beauty away. Will Lewis to the Ottawa goal line. Nice move to the outside. There's a flag for an illegal block. And the Ottawa Rough Riders will be pinned deep in their own end with 6:19 left in a 25-25 football game. A 51-yard punt and a 6-yard run back by Lewis, but the penalty will cut into that.
Illegal block, Ottawa 25, 1st down.
Zeke Dadson, the man charged with the illegal block. We will keep you updated on what is happening at Commonwealth Stadium as the game is just getting set to start there now.
Here's the block right there on number 55, Doug Davies by Gadsden. Push from behind.
So Wickersham and the Riders start from their 3. Beverly carrying. And he gets it out to the 8 for a gain of 5. At the conclusion of today's Ottawa-Hamilton game, we will be selecting the Foster's most valuable player. And we have some prime candidates, I would think, in Earl Winfield and Gerald Alphin, who have 2 touchdowns each. There are others. And the game at Commonwealth Stadium is just underway. Edmonton with the football. As I said, we will let you know what is happening there. 5.5 minutes left in the 4th quarter here at Ivor Wynne. Orbeli on 2nd down. Trying to find enough room to get a 1st down, but doesn't. Stopped at the 10. He had to get to the 13.
Ottawa being conservative down near their own goal line. 2 running plays. Not successful. Tom Dixon trying to rush the punting team, get them set and ready to go, but there's going to be a delay with Marv Alamang down on that knee. That hamstring of his has to take a lot of stress when he's down in that snapping position.
This is the 202nd game of Marv Alamang's CFL career. Lee Knight has ice on his elbow. Landed very hard on the turf at Ivor Wynne on a pass reception a couple minutes ago. Tom Dixon has had 1 blocked. Scott Flegel blocked 1 in the 3rd quarter at the Ottawa 17, and all Hamilton got out of it was a single by Osbaldiston on a wide 24-yard field goal. Good snap to Dixon. Lots of time and a pretty good kick. Winfield at the 54 of Ottawa. There are no flags. Earl Winfield has his 3rd touchdown.
You hear the term used out, kicking your coverage. This was a great punt, but it was a little low. Winfield wastes no time getting up. Good job of blocking, as you can see right there. 1 missed tackle, and then he's waved. He says, come on through here. The gap's wide open. Escorted in by Les Brown.
And Hamilton's lead will be 32-25 if Osbaldiston makes the convert. And he does, and we have 4 minutes and 57 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Earl Winfield has just scored his 3rd touchdown of the day. And his 10th touchdown of the season.
Great view right here. Watch him take it right up the pipe. Larry Moore, 33. You think he's got a shot at him, but that one move to the inside. He evades that one tackle. It's one-on-one. Good blocking downfield on Dixon. The only man left can be the punter in many situations. If you can get someone in his face, you might have it beaten. Right now, Dixon can feel it coming. Les Brown just gives him a good shot in the chest and releases.
Well, the Ottawa Rough Riders kick coverage has been excellent today. But a major breakdown there and some good work by Earl Winfield. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats are back in front 32-25.
Winfield, an extraordinary talent. He continues to prove that, be it as a receiver or a specialist, he can do a great job.
Well, he has 4 touchdowns this season on kick returns now and 6 on pass receptions. Orville Lee with this kickoff, and he's stopped by Rockford at the Ottawa 28-yard line.
As important a great return is, the coverage team on the ensuing kickoff can be just about as important. Keeping Ottawa inside the 40-yard line, giving them or making it a lot of real estate for them to go if they're going to score.
Jeff Wickersham now faced with the task of taking his team the length of the field, and he won't get a lot of opportunities to do it as the clock is running, and it shows 4 minutes and 40 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Wickersham puts it up long for Remy Watson, and he makes the catch down at the Hamilton 36-yard line against Les Brown.
I was just thinking, the way Wickersham's been going, it would be typical to see him be able to hook up downfield on a big play. But the play really is made on the football. Watch this. Watson comes back, makes the catch. Les Brown does make the turn in time, but just in that time, Watson's coming underneath. And he's still down.
And you talk about a play that quiets down a crowd. For the last few seconds, you could virtually hear a pin drop here at Iberwin Stadium after the fans had gone into a frenzy after that Hamilton touchdown. Well, let's go to Edmonton and Commonwealth Stadium for Dave Hodge and Tom Larshite.
Bob, thank you. As you and your viewers can see, we are in the 1st quarter and there is no score. The Eskimos have the ball and just benefit from a penalty called against the Argos, and the Eskimos also just benefited from a Pernell Moore fumble and perhaps from an official's late whistle. As the Argos were marching, Don Wilson picked up Moore's fumble and changed possession. Now the Eskimos have it at their 41-yard line. We'll get back to Hamilton very quickly as that game resumes, but we'll show you a play or two here. Flag obviously on the play you saw, and now with the 4th quarter winding down in Hamilton, back to Bob and Neil.
Okay, Dave, and we'll be heading out to Edmonton very shortly to pick up the Eskimos and Argos. But we want to see how this one concludes, as Hamilton leads Ottawa 32-25 with 4:02 left now in the 4th quarter. Wickersham's pass incomplete on 1st down, and Ottawa will be 2nd down and 10 from the Hamilton 36-yard line. And the crowd has quickly gotten back into the game. Robert Reed on a draw play, stopped by Nick Yurkowski and Frank Robinson. They gained a yard. And on 2nd and 10, they ran a draw to Robert Reed.
That's a pretty fine adjustment made by the Hamilton front 7. They were uptight, their linebackers ready to come after the quarterback if the situation presented itself as drop back, but they made that adjustment coming back out and stopping Reed.
And they're not going to try the field goal. They will go for it on 3rd down and 9 at the Hamilton 35. It's the 3rd time in the game they've gone on 3rd and long. They missed the first 2, and they'll miss this one. with 3:04 of a timeout. This CFN game is brought to you by Foster's Lager. Well, if you were going to bill this game at Iverwin Stadium, you'd have to call it the Earl Winfield and Gerald Alphen show, with second billing to the quarterbacks, Mike Kerrigan and Jeff Wickersham. 32-25 Hamilton with less than 3 minutes to go now. Winfield has 3 touchdowns. Alphen has 2. And Martin Sarton has a big run up the middle for 15 yards.
Situation in the game where you look to your running backs. This case, Sarton and Jed Tommy to lug the mail for you. Makes a great cut. He's going left, but he cuts back into that seam. Good block by Dale Sanderson, and should point out that Mike Dirks, left tackle, has gone to the dressing room, and he's replaced by 62, as I said earlier, Lloyd Fairbanks.
First and 10 Ticats, 2:30 left. And they'd like to see Sarton continue that success on the ground and wear that clock down. A 3-yard gain this time only for Martin Sarton. Zeke Gadsden. And Dan Sellers in on the stop.
Emotionally, it's been an up and down day for the Riders. A few minutes ago, it was their game to win if they'd moved the ball downfield, but that seems to be the story for the Riders this year. They've come so close so many times.
Well, they battled hard. You have to admire that.
And it's not over yet. Let's not sell them short.
Far from it. 2nd and 8. Ticats at their 52. Kerrigan throws complete at the 45-yard line to Jacques Chapdelaine, who makes another important catch, and he has done that often this season.
Chapdelaine establishing himself as one of the better inside receivers. Last 5 games, look at him just curl up in the middle. He knows safety Kyle Hall's behind him. He prepares himself for the thump, but his adjustments downfield in the zones has been outstanding.
More valuable time eating away. You see the clock, 1:45 now. First and 10 Hamilton, Ottawa 45. Jed Tommy, 10-yard opening to the Ottawa 35. Hamilton leading 32-25 with 1:40 left now in the 4th quarter.
With the Riders possibly looking at starting to get the ball most of the time, the big guy from the University of Guelph, Jed Tommy, breaks one up the middle.
Time whistled in, and the Ticats will take their time. 2nd down and inches at the Ottawa 35. Kerrigan keeps right side east to the 34. Has another Tiger Cat first down with just 1:21 remaining. And the Ticats in that 7-point lead, looking good now.
Bob Weber looking at taking over this head coaching spot with Ottawa as a challenge. He said today, if I was looking for security, I wouldn't be in the coaching business.
Ticats, 1st and 10. Martin Sarton with a football. Nice move at the line. Got him to the 30, the 29 of the Ottawa Rough Riders in a 5-yard run. The clock is now down to 1 minute left in the 4th quarter. Well, if you're Weber, you have to wonder how much more heartbreak your team can take. They lost in overtime in Calgary last week. They come back from a 17-point deficit here to get even with Hamilton. It looks like they're going to lose again. Jed Tommy carrying on 2nd down and gains only a yard. So with 42 seconds left, Paulus Baldiston and the Hamilton field goal unit will go out there. And if Baldiston can make this, it'll be a 10-point game. And that will pretty much do it. Right after this game, we go to Edmonton for the Eskimos and Toronto Argonauts. They are midway through the 1st quarter now, and there's no score. Ottawa's taking a timeout and stopped the clock, but they let it run down to 34 seconds before they took the timeout. They wasted 8 seconds. But if Baldiston makes the field goal, it's not going to matter anyway.
No, it's not. I'd be interested to see how Ottawa lines up in preparing to try to block this field goal. As we look at the, I would call quite aptly the game buster, Earl Winfield.
A 54-yard punt return for a touchdown. That has been the decisive score in the game by Winfield here in the fourth quarter at 10:03. And 2 first-quarter touchdowns on passes from Mike Kerrigan, covering 73 and then 19 yards. Osbaldiston will attempt a 34-yard field goal. Tom Porras holding. And it is good. And the lead is now 10 points for Hamilton. 35-25 with 30 seconds left.
That field goal line follows Osbaldiston leaves out of their fire from arcade. The walk-through basket in the end of the Tiger Cats in time to face the game.
Osbaldiston happy about the result of this one, feeling comfortable the way he's been kicking the ball. It's like, you know, you look at the kickers and you usually look at them and say they're not very big, but Osbaldiston 6'3", 210 pounds. Strong leg.
And he's given Hamilton a 10-point lead with 30 seconds left. And we will be going to Edmonton very shortly now. Wickersham to Orville Lee. Lee trying to move out there and make this a big gain. Rockford, though, tracks him down at the 45-yard line. A gain of 10 and 21 seconds left on the clock. And so the beat will go on for the Ottawa Rough Riders, who have won only 7 of their last 47 CFL League games. Wickersham throws, intending for Hudson, and it's intercepted by Lance Shields at the Hamilton 44-yard line with 11 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Jeff Wickersham, helmet off, I'm sure upset about what's gone on today, but I think you should give him some credit. He's done a good job of bringing this football team back. That's one that got away. It almost looked like a miscue downfield. I think we've seen an awful lot of good things from this young man. Throwing the football, his poise under pressure.
No doubt a bright spot for the Ottawa Rough Riders. The play of Wickersham and the apparent progress that he is making, Neil.
Well, it never happens as quickly as coaches and fans want it to. And then sometimes we expect it, because you look at other teams and say, well, why does Edmonton get great quarterbacks and Matt Dunning in BC, and you know, you can go down the list, and it can be frustrating. But Hamilton stuck with that man, Mike Kerrigan. When he started here at Ivor Wynne Stadium, the confidence shown by Al Bruno and the coaching staff, and I would say it's paid off.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen Al Bruno smile before a game was over. This will be the final play of the game, barring a penalty. Kerrigan taking the snap and kneeling. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats have moved for now into a tie for first place with the Toronto Argonauts with their 35.